Welcome to the Tuck Shop Podcast, last episode of the term. So I thought we'd do something a little different, have some fun. David, how are you?
Why start now having fun?
We've had fun this year.
That's right.
And right off the bat, I'm going to introduce Doug Ledney, who's back on the show.
Hey,
Second time in like 3 weeks.
Great to be here. Great to be here.
We got some stuff to cover up, but I figured we'd reminisce about
I think Ledney has like a 3-album deal.
That's it.
Like he paid for the first one.
It's like a
we
home
gotta have
away, a
it's
home
like
thing
two
now
more-
because he's over.
two more albums to fulfill the contract.
That's right after the showcase.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. So we got one more day of... Actually, this will go live the last day of the term, finishing on a Wednesday. Good
Yep.
work, schedule committee.
Yeah.
Hump Day.
Yeah.
It's completely thrown me off. I have no idea what day of the week it is, what time of day it is. It's just out here floating in the void.
And why should that change?
Yes. Final exam week is always busy. It's crazy busy anytime.
Yeah. How does that work with because your student teachers, once they're done student teaching, they're done.
Right. Once they finish, they're finished. But the underclassmen have final
Still
exams
finals
and some project-based assessments they have to do, but very much similar to all the other divisions.
That makes sense. I finished last week, so because it's a week, 2 week, half weeks back to back. So
It's all one long day
it's all one long day.
for me.
Well, you're getting ready for vacation, so
We hope.
you hope. We'll see. It's been an
space.
interesting. As of we record here on Tuesday the 29th. First off, it's 2 years today since my transplant.
Okay.
Oh,
All right. Yeah.
Had a doctor's checkup this
Wonderful.
morning. They said I'm okay. My blood pressure is astronomically high, but I'm blaming. I explained them to them, and they're like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense."
Well,
you know,
as I
Dave.
said, could be a prescription or not to be with me.
well, that's congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. That's
I
wonderful.
Good work,
started
Matt.
my
Glad that you...
Good work.
not dying.
Good
All
work
right.
staying alive.
That's
Well,
what I
well,
actually I
healthy.
put that online today. I said, "Still not dead." Actually, I might name the show this.
That's the most important thing. Still healthy.
I also got. I don't know if you've ever had this experience because you get mail at the mailroom. I got a mail email from the campus services thing this morning. I have a package for pickup.
Yeah. Ooh, that happens.
Oh,
It doesn't for me.
not to me.
I get. In fact, I tell you what, alumnus Dr. Mike McGough mailed me a book.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have a house here. That,
Yeah, well, I get a little
So
thing
I had
says
no
come
idea
through.
what it was.
Yeah. Just recently.
And I'm sitting there. So I stopped on campus this morning before I head to Somerset for my doctor's appointment because it was driving me nuts. Did somebody send something? Maybe it's a fan of the show. Who knows?
So it was a pretty exciting day for you.
No, it
Getting
was.
that email.
The mail, the
package?
post office dropped a package off that was addressed to my house to campus.
Okay, that's
Oh, there you go.
So I want to thank the UPJ mailroom for helping deliver my toilet paper order from Amazon. That is
something to be excited about.
what a day!
Hey.
What a way to end the term, you know?
Got a package.
Holy!
Well, you got a package. I've never never
Package
received
day.
a package.
I'm going to send you a package, Doug.
There you go.
Make your day.
You're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, that's weird. And I looked at like Amazon. I'm like, I'm expecting stuff, but sometimes I thought maybe if anything, it was like a book, like one of the vendors was like,
Sure.
hey, look at our textbook.
Sure.
But
Package day is an exciting day.
yeah, no. It kind of takes the fun out of it when you have to drive to come get your package.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's been kind of fun. You survived your weekend. The Hall of Fame apparently was great. I saw some nice pictures.
Yeah, it was. And again, it's a broken record. It's really cool when you get a alum back because
You had about what you said about 180.
about 180
Show
such individuals, and it's it's going to sound odd, but the speeches were really good. I mean, people are like, "Oh, speeches, got to sit and listen to speeches," but it was some of them had some really good takeaways.
Great.
There was interesting, and I'm not going to call him up, but I think it was Thad who said, when he started wrestling, he was terrible. Like he was like, and it was interesting.
Sure.
He said, he started wrestling in first grade and didn't get his first medal till he was in third grade. But I mean,
Yeah.
but it was
absolutely.
interesting. His story is that, you don't start, and I try and be cliche-ish, but you don't start a champion.
Yeah.
You don't start getting,
Sure.
you don't get in the Hall of Fame first day at training camp. And he talked about, discipline and working.
Work your way
What
up.
UPJ helped him, in both life and as an athlete, to the point of now, he's standing here receiving, Hall of Fame. So I thought, Thad Benton's piece
that's
was,
good. Yeah.
was interesting that, to stand up and say, I was really not very good at this,
Yeah.
when I started. But hey.
Shows you that hard work pays off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the right guidance. I mean, he made a good point about, just having, which, you guys, it's an everyday part of your job, guiding somebody into a career or.
I do with you every day, David.
Yeah, absolutely.
I need the guidance. So I need someone to
No,
guide.
but that's cool.
guide
It looked
me
like a
every day.
really nice event, and certainly athletics does a good job recognizing all the different sports and a lot of folks that when you look at that wall, it's a very very wide ranging group of people that over the years have been inducted.
And we had when I won't even say good, we had a great turnout as we usually do for the Alumni Association. I mean, we get 20 out of 20, which, trust me.
You mean Saturday morning for our
Saturday
meeting?
morning alumni meeting.
Yeah.
20 out of 20 every quarter is, I know, and there's the ad, where you say, well, we use Zoom, but I think there was 4 out of the 20 were on Zoom.
Exactly. No, it was great. Great
to be
discussion.
fair to those folks, I think my guess would be 3 of them. We had 2 that were in Texas,
Right, sure, yeah.
which is going to be a hard,
absolutely,
but
yeah.
it's
But make
very
time.
easy to say, hey, I don't have to worry about it.
Yep.
I mean, Doug, how many students were on campus when we were doing Zoom and they couldn't bother to Zoom in
Exactly.
when they were on campus?
Yeah, we still
Let
have
alone-
students that want to Zoom now.
let alone from there. And I think we had a member someplace looked like it was work related.
Yeah. Then my point is that it's
yes.
very appreciative in a position that I hold here to have, it's volunteer, to have volunteer individuals that want to help make the place.
Oh, and it's
little
a
better.
great board to work with, and a lot of great ideas were shared on Saturday.
Yeah, we do our best, and it's good. It was a good,
I'm
positive
pleased.
meeting, and pretty much everyone was still talking to each other afterwards.
Yeah,
which
which is- I mean,
after
it's-
3 hours is always a treat.
But it's a quarterly meeting, and it's a 3-hour meeting. It's once a quarter that we meet, and Doug's right. I mean, there's a lot of good discussion. We could do it by proxy. Just
Sure,
say, "Here,
absolutely.
mail your vote in.
But-
what does that get you?
There, a lot of good ideas exchanged, as I said, and a lot of people that do care about the university, and that's what it's all about. To
And
give,
that's what
to
you
give
think,
back.
and kind of because while we'll have intermittent shows through the summer, we'll be back to the week in week out when term starts again because we kind of stick to the academic year just for our own sanity here. When you go back to where we started in the fall, we put a lot of stuff on the plate out there for people, for alum, whether it's the daily things that, David, you're pushing out from on the social media, finding pictures, finding stories, history, the podcast, the we did social science and education reunion in the fall. We're going to talk about something coming up for this fall for that in a little bit. We did Winterfest. We had Presidents at Homecoming. We did Tomahawks game.
The Pirates coming
The
up.
Pirates. Actually, that would have fallen in this academic year
Absolutely.
because it was after July.
But a little bit, I just came from a presentation by senior marketing class, and we used the podcast as part of this.
they were the ones on
yeah.
about a month ago on the show.
And it was, I don't want to use the word surprising, but in both groups' presentations, Tuck Shop Podcast came up as a legitimate partner for the future, which was kind of cool. Like this, because these are young kids.
Absolutely.
And like, what's cool?
Yeah, well, absolutely.
You know what I mean? But they really see it as legitimate. And Matt, before we get off the podcast, you had some stats that you talked about at Saturday's meeting. If you had them do you have those handy?
I was just pulling them up for you.
Yeah. I mean, because
these statistics
I'm just looking
were
here before
very
I get to the
impressive.
statistics. The folks who jumped on this season. I hate the term season, but it kind of works. We started September 4th with Dawn because she just graduated. That was fantastic. Dr. Rowland was on with us. Ross Kleinstuber from Social Science was on with us. Jim Dittmar talking about Francis Hesselbein. The episodes where you and I just sit and shoot the breeze tend to be fairly popular. Dr. Whistler was on and talked about British cars and cyber trucks. Abby was on a handful of times because she had some cool stuff going on. Jen Toscano from Oakland Athletics. Mitzi was on talking about soil judging and those kind of. We had a lot of
There's a lot of great,
lot
interesting
of
subjects.
big
Yeah.
different things
Diverse.
that hit. Geez, the 22nd, everyone was sick in January. Sarah and I did one in the house from home.
Yeah, I think I had COVID then.
You were down with COVID. Ben Vanzini
Again.
was up.
Okay.
Like we know Ben from the
Sure.
the alumni board.
Yeah,
We've had a
absolutely.
lot of
Great guy.
But do you have the stats that
Yeah,
you... Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's coming.
I don't know if you were stalling or...
No, I just was going through the list.
Okay.
Do you want all time?
Well, those stats are very impressive.
All time, we have 1,300 individual listeners over the course of the entire show. Downloads totaling coming up to 1,700.
Okay.
So there are duplicates of some there. But I thought was interesting is when you do the breakdown, it's like 30 states, 18 countries.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are people that I've heard from, or we've heard from, or listened to the show. We're looking for. I like to fill out the Eastern Seaboard, like so. Vermont. If anyone in Vermont, just get them to listen. That would fill that map in.
Okay.
And then we'll go from Maine the whole way down to Florida. We're just literally missing Vermont.
And this is
Nice.
particularly impressive for me. I come from a generation, and this is an honest God true story. I had a radio that I would sit at night.
Yeah.
Sure.
And if you got it just right in between frequencies, you could pick up Portland, or you could pick up.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
never got. I don't think I got many other countries, and I got a wide. What are they called?
Those were the good
The band radios
AM
that I-
radio
Yeah,
days.
but you
Yeah.
could-
Wideband AM radio.
I got a
blasted
wideband
it.
eventually, but before the wideband radio that I received as a gift, I would sit there and you would just kind of like, you'd listen to for as long as you could until you got the picket of fence where it would go in and out, in and out, in and out,
Yes.
in and out,
Yeah.
and then
Yep.
you would
Yep.
move it just so slightly to the next. And you come to the point where now,
Yeah, those were the days when you could pick up different anything really, any state,
Yeah.
even sometimes you get some foreign languages.
Yeah,
So
Sure.
those were
We
kind
can
of
we get some stuff coming over from Canada and
Yeah.
stuff over the.
yeah. Those were the
but here we are now.
Speaking of Canada, I was looking. We have a decent number of downloads from Ontario, which makes sense, and Quebec. I can't do French,
Yeah, that's weird.
so it's kind of cool. I had to say, look at this breakdown though. I think my favorite episode of this season is when I sat down with the kids out here, and we did just talk to them
Sure.
as what it kind of was like as
Sure.
students, and it was just them just.
sure.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. But the show's been great. The show's been fun to do. It always is fun to do. I'm kind of thinking back that we're going to be wrapping up. This is year 2.
Yeah, that's great.
And
Congratulations.
I saw a stat one time that effectively said, based on our episode downloads, we are weekly about the same size as what would be in America considered a small church congregation. Based
that's-
on yeah,
all right.
we're
That's
not
comforting.
but I mean that's that's how many people is
Yeah,
if
right. And you've
you
got
go to a
you-
local community church and there's
exactly, and you have your
25, 30
devoted
people
followers.
show up and
It's comforting to know,
Colonel.
Reverend Doug.
Yeah. Anyway,
know.
so thank you all for participating and downloading. David, you kind of get to go along on this journey, so thank you.
Yeah, and it's share it, subscribe to it. I mean, it's what can you do as an alum? Get it. I mean,
Yeah.
share it on your own personal Facebook page.
yeah.
or
I'm
social
excited for
medias.
some of the stuff we have coming up because it's going to involve the show a little bit over the summer. We're always looking for people. Contact us. This is.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to preload a bunch of evergreen interviews while I have time over the summer, so we can
I mean,
be a little less of our normal stressful digging around for people like we normally do.
you may not think you're interesting, and I don't want to sound like Mr. Rogers or anything, but you are interesting. You are somebody.
There's somebody always has a story to tell.
Yeah, and it's and by the magic of that computer,
Yeah.
you can do things via phone. You don't have to. Although we'd love for you to make the trip into Johnstown, you don't particularly need to.
Right, absolutely. You could do that by phone, Zoom.
Zoom, yeah. It'd
We
be
did a
Zoom.
podcast the early days.
Yeah,
I think it
you
was
and
a
I,
co-
you were really sick when you did that. Yeah.
Back in the early days.
Back in the early days of the
That was
show.
last season.
I think we did them with dial-up.
Yeah.
But no, we've done those. Those are kind of those are great episodes because it still gets that feeling.
But point being is, if you think you have an interesting story, I say it with everything. And finally, our LinkedIn highlight of the month or highlight of the week, I've started to get people that are saying, "Hey, I'd like to, how do I nominate?" You just did.
Yeah.
You sent me an email.
Nice. Yep.
You just did. So I think it's the same thing with a podcast. If you think you're interesting, or even if you don't think you're interesting, reach out to Matt, reach out to myself, and we'll get you on here, and we'll
I think it's a great thing. Talking about your LinkedIn featuring, one thing that is also coming up, and we get past graduation, I can finally take a breath, and I have an intern for the summer from our business department, and we're going to be taking those businesses of the week and looking at the list and folks who reach out and talk to us and stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to build we're building an alumni chamber of commerce. So UPJ alums can support UPJ alum. Students know who to talk to if they have questions about their business or industry or
looking for a job.
Or maybe it's something like, hey, I need a roof done. Here's a list of contractors that are UPJ graduates, or I need a dentist, or I need to find an accountant or whatever, and I want to support somebody who, oh yeah, I remember that person. I went to school with them, or I was in school with their parent, or whatever. And it's like, boom, let's make those connections. We are a community just like any other county would have a chamber of commerce. It's just we're spread out around our chamber of commerce geographically is the world.
Well, that's a great idea and great way to push UPJ.
Yeah,
and those drop every Tuesday on the Facebook page. I'll do one when I get out of here eventually.
Yeah,
but and it's interesting because believe it or not, and I guess it's not surprising, but those businesses. And again, if you have a business out there and you're an alum, please, let me know and we can feature you. But I've got a list of the ones we've done. I've done one a week for the past almost 3 years. So if you do the math on that, I've got almost the equivalent amount that I've pulled through data searches that I haven't done yet. So there are a lot of UPJ alum that, to Matt's point, everything from, contractors to owning engineering firms, to I just saw one, an HR consulting company that he just went out on his own.
It could be anything. I look at this because I was talking with the students out here when Nathan was here working, and they were kind of talking to them about the idea. It could be something as simple as, well, I don't have a bank. I don't run a bank, but I started this side thing where I'm making these whatever. It's like, you know what? If I'm going to buy something online from somebody as a gift or a Christmas thing or something, I'd love for it to go to a UPJ alum
student.
because
absolutely.
That too's a business. It's not just don't feel like, oh, I'm not going to qualify because I'm not CFO at a investment firm or what. It can be whatever because they're all.
But there's some pretty good bars. Some pretty good bars out there, I'm sure, owned by some UPJ alums.
After your week, I know where you're thinking.
Going to make my own chamber of commerce
with bar. There's your own bar. That's all you need. Stuff coming up, and I want to kind of get to that. We have Music, Media, and More reunion.
Yep.
Or Media, Music, and More.
End of.
Which one is it?
Soon will be next month. Well, soon will be this month. Music, Media, and More.
And More.
Yes.
That's it. The end of May. Pull up my calendar real quick. May 31st, 30th and 31st.
Little preview to that. So in between Alumni Association meeting and Hall of Fame on Saturday, I spent about 3.5 hours with Jeff Martinelli and Bruce Hasselrig. They were going over. We've got a pile of scrapbooks up in the IA office. And they were going through to kind of for a presentation they're going to do as part of programming board. Man, I'll tell you what, Bruce's stories were just like...
I should have given you this
priceless
and just let it run.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen him ask him his story about Shaggy? I mean, but they're just, and they're told in a way, and I'm going to bring this up for a reason. They're told in a way as they're told, like, as read by the author, Bruce Hasselrig, which he's going to be here. That's going to be part of the presentation, in the log cabin, is to just chat and rap about the almost, 50 years of programming through the programming board.
Sure.
And man, he just, some of the stories he could tell.
Oh, I'm sure
they're worth the drive.
And I'm real excited because that's going to include, we're going to set this thing up, the recorder, and just kind of see who wants to sit down and have those conversations and talk, and anything that we can kind of put together and use. I'm excited to kind of turn the podcast over to WUPJ radio folks from decades past and
back in the
say,
day.
hey, see what you guys come up with, and hopefully it's something that, it might be enough stuff that we do a couple of episodes and here's Bruce stories, programming board, here's radio stuff, here, just to kind of have some stuff, advocate, and just kind of let them do a setup and let it roll.
That'd be great to hear.
And that's so that's the end of May. In July, we have Pirates baseball coming up, end of July. I want to say the 25th. One thing I did bump into that I got a question on. Don't be confused. There are 2 nights listed. One is Oakland's night.
Oh, okay.
Ours is the end of July, the 25th. We're playing the Diamondbacks. So if you see Pittsburgh's night, you're welcome to go and support Oakland's. But if you want to see and hang out with UPJ people, the fun runs, you want to, and us, the fun folks, you want to make sure you're on the right link. And you go to it. If you see our Pitt Johnstown alumni bold letter, blue letters, yellow background, that's us. Yeah.
Who are they playing in the Oakland?
I don't remember. I remembered we're playing the Diamondbacks. That's good enough, David.
Yeah, that's all I remember is Arizona.
Curious.
Which is better than 2 weeks ago when you thought the Diamondbacks were in Colorado.
Yeah, they have snakes too, I guess.
They do.
Yeah.
So that kind of wraps up some of the stuff for the summer. There could be a couple of things that pop up, but those are the big ones. The big thing that I wanted to, and that's why we invited Doug, other than Doug's fun to hang out with, and we've enjoyed
Appreciate that.
His opinion and opining on a variety of topics from quantum physics on down today, is for education and let's talk about education first.
Sure.
Saturday, September 20th, there'll be another joint event with education and geosciences. And I'll talk geosciences in a second. Education is going to be doing a similar event to that happened last year.
Right. We're going to be having basically a reunion. And we started out last year. It was a great event. It worked out well. Thanks to everybody who helped and participated with that. And we were asked to continue that and bring it back the following year, which we are now in the planning stages of doing that. It'll be on that Saturday, as Matt, you mentioned, and we're looking forward to that. So anybody interested, please reach out to us. We'll get you the information. Information should be coming out soon with more details, registration, etc. But it was a wonderful time to come out and see some old friends maybe you haven't seen for a while. Some friends, make some new friends, etc. Our students are there. Education students are there helping out. So it's a great chance to come back to the university. It's beautiful here in the fall, as everybody knows, and get a chance to see everybody.
Along with that, and just so everyone understands, timing-wise, this is a brunch event.
Right,
so
exactly.
You can come on campus, enjoy the morning, get a meal, see everybody, do what you're going to do. And then if there's interest, we'll run tours around campus, but you're not committing a weekend or even a whole day. If you got I know from the education side, you guys are very sensitive to homecomings and
times
and football games,
exactly,
and fall things that happen.
Absolutely, and absolutely, because there is homecomings at high schools during that time period, and we know a lot of the teachers who are alumni may be involved with that and participating in those events. So we were out here around 12 o'clock last year. So it worked out very nice. Bookstore I believe is open. So if you wanted to walk over to the bookstore and that, so it's a great opportunity for everybody to come back and see each other and say hello.
Keynote again this year?
Yes, we are working on that. We should have that kind of hammered out in the next week or two, and once that's available, that information will be available when we push.
And last year we had Dr. Aspen Mock, who was
runner-up for Teacher of the Year.
And UPJ alum.
Yes, and UPJ alum, and she did a wonderful job. Was very motivational speaker, very motivational. Our students enjoyed it as well as the alumni. So it was just a nice time to sit down and just get reacquainted with some friends you perhaps haven't seen for a while.
At the same time, on kind of just same kind of plan, shared buffet, down the hall. If you don't want to learn about education, which I can understand, deciding that's a kind of a cool thing, but instead of social science, we're going to be having the Geosciences fall kickoff event. Mitzi's talked a little bit, Dr. Shaney's talked about when she was on and so forth, that starting new majors and combining, we have the new Geosciences department that includes geography, geology, environmental studies, environmental sciences, GIS. We want to kind of kick that off, and we're going to kick it off the right way by having this party. Welcoming back alumni from all those fields, from majors or minors, come back, hang out, faculty, hopefully see some former faculty, retired faculty, staff, that kind of thing, and do a proper celebration of how things have been set up, and it's been working real well. It's been about 6 months or so where we've kind of been working closer together, and it's really great. We've been very, very lucky to have great folks to work with on the natural science side. I speak as the social science geographer, welcoming Dr. Kerrigan and Dr. Kokenhauer down just in the office. They've been fantastic to work with, and we're real excited, and I think the alumni are going to be really excited to kind of hang out. We're gonna kick this thing off, and I kind of look at it as our prep for the next 100 years.
Exactly.
Out of our department.
Yeah, and Matt, you had a great point. It's Matt, David, Dr. Rowland, who I work with, all the great people up here to work with and put on these events. So yeah, both of us, education.
Doug, we just wish we could say the same about you.
Well, hey, but I just, I do want to.
Control, man. Okay.
But I just wanted to say that because really without this planning and everything that goes into this, these events couldn't be pulled off.
But the going back, serious credit where credit's due. We did these to celebrate 50 years.
Right.
And it's interesting because here were two groups that came back and said, we want to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of like we planted the seed, and some did their 50 and said, okay, we'll see you again in another 50 years, maybe 10, maybe 20.
Right.
But again, it's bringing alum back, not only leaving with, maybe some knowledge from a keynote they've heard, but, trading stories, reconnecting back to the university. So, kudos out to you guys to say, hey, let's do another one next year. Which is this year, but that's
coming up in the fall.
Coming up here.
That's very good
in September.
Cool.
It's an exciting event. These events to kind of see people and do things, and it's kind of our weekend. There's not.
Right.
I don't know about the athletic calendar, but that it's not like it's part of home. This is our thing, and it is a real special, and I'm looking forward to kind of enjoying that day.
Absolutely.
Dr. Rowland talked me into hosting a basket party for the foundation. Since the Corey Foundation is a 501c3 independent nonprofit with a small game of chance license. So
right. That was
she's I tell you what,
she's on the ball.
She's on the ball, and she's
She is.
She's hard to say no to.
Yeah. No. Well, as I said, it's wonderful working with those guys, and I also have to give a shout out to our administrative assistants, Karen Kleitz and Maggie Brodak. Mm-hmm. They too, without their assistance too, a lot of this we just couldn't do because they do a wonderful job.
That's a good point. I think that's something that we'll see it at graduation. We see it at these things that. The amount of stuff that happens behind the scenes on the campus, whether it's Karen, who I've known for a long, long time, or Nadia here in social science, or Jessica over in business, or Dawn up in Ray's office, or Susan in IT, or all these people that are just, they come, they do their job, they make the process better, they know to keep us going. I told it was administrative assistant day, or whatever it's
Yes,
called,
yes.
earlier this week. And I saw Jessica, and I told her, I said, I'm not going to speak for the rest of the faculty, but for me, I am always appreciative because it feels like I must be, having me in your division must be like The Sims. Go here. Don't do that. You'll catch on fire. You'll die if you go here. Send me that email. Like, it's just this constant supervision that's required of us.
Yeah, actually, Karen and Maggie, from my standpoint, they're my right arm. If they help me so much and do the things, we work well together. So I do want to tell them, thank you from that standpoint.
Well, I think
Can I make three quick points?
they don't even have to be quick.
They're not going to be okay. They'll be quick. So I did want to mention again, coming up quick, that Mountain Cat Media deadline is the 22nd, I believe, of May. So we're going into May. We won't be on again, I think, prior to that. So go to the website, go to the LinkedIn, Facebook, register, because once the registration closes, there's meals involved, there's lodging if you need it, so on and so forth. The other two other things I wanted to make kind of chronologically, we will be at commencement, graduation this Saturday. And the reason I bring
May
that
3rd.
up,
May
we
3rd.
started a tradition last year where we started to give excuse me, a little something to the graduates, a T-shirt. It's not only for the graduates. If you're an alumni parent or an alumni relative and you happen to be making the trek up on Saturday, stop by the table. We've got sizes that vary. We'd love to get you in an alumni T-shirt. Last point I wanted to make is one of the things that's further on down the horizon. We've been around a little over 50 years here, 100 if you count 1927. But next season will be the 50th season of volleyball, the 50th season. So I've already spoken with some representatives of that group and athletics to put together some sort of celebration through that season. So if you're a volleyball person out there, whether it be a fan, player, or associated with that program, we're looking to do some things. Keep your eyes open for next year, coming when we get back after the summer. But that plan is going to take place starting pretty soon.
Right.
Those are my three.
Along graduation, just wanted to say congratulations to all the graduates out there.
Yeah.
May 3rd, we'll be graduating this year. So
And for those
congratulations.
that-
I told you guys before we started recording, I found typos in my speech already.
And for those that
I'm so sick of writing Doug with his
may not make it
doctorate.
to
It's
Saturday,
killing me.
get them next year.
Yeah.
If it didn't quite, there's still, 2 days left?
Right.
So if you're on the bubble there, as they call it, it's next year. Go get them next year.
Yeah. True.
25, 26,
True.
27.
I think it's time we call this a season and head off into the summer. Thank you both for spending the time over here today. And
thank you for the invitation. My pleasure.
we're going to have all the links for all these things. Again, the reunion registration, the Pirates game will be all down in the description. You can click on it and go. And as long as, David and I, our email, as usual.
Throwing
So-
the Mountain Cat registration stuff. I don't know if you mentioned that.
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay. My phone buzzed. Sorry.
Jeez. See, it doesn't matter how, they still don't pay attention to you in class.
That's right.
C-.
Could have been important. I won, but
Have a good summer. We'll talk to you in May with hopefully a whole bunch of really fun stories with the folks from the media reunion.
cool.
The Tuck Shop podcast is recorded live on the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown campus. Update your contact information with us by visiting johnstown.pitt.edu/alumni. Connect with us online via Facebook and LinkedIn, or consider donating to the university at give2, that's giveto.pitt.edu/giveupj.
This has been a production of Quantum Wave Media. Views expressed do not necessarily reflect the opinion of the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown.